Well, hello. Welcome to our continuing devotional through the book of Colossians. I'm currently in Colossians chapter 2, looking at verses 9 and 10. Here's what they say. For in him, referring to Jesus, in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily, and you have been filled in him who is the head of all rule and authority. Now, to really appreciate these two verses, you have to understand what the primary problem, the primary issue that Paul was addressing was. There were false teachers that were inferring or outright teaching that these Christians needed something more than simple dependence on Jesus. That if they were going to be pardoned from their sin, if they were going to have power over all their problems and sin in their life, if they were going to be protected from every danger, spiritual or physical, they needed something more than Jesus. So these false teachers were telling them about these ceremonies or these regulations or these mystical experiences they needed to do, or these harsh kind of bodily denials and long periods of fasting and beating themselves and all kinds of things of that nature. And what Paul is emphasizing in verses 9 and 10 is still just as pertinent for us today. And it's simply this: Jesus is more than enough for every spiritual, physical, and emotional need. Whatever the situation is, Jesus is more than enough. And the reason he's more than enough is because he's God. That's why he says here, in Jesus, the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily. It goes on to say at the end of verse 10 there that he is the head. He's in charge. He's the authority over all rule and over all authority. Now you may think, well, that's Jesus, that's not me. But here's where Paul reminds them, you're connected to Jesus. Jesus is the one in whom all the fullness of deity dwells. He's the one in whom is the head of all rule and authority. But as it says at the beginning of verse 10, you have been filled in him. Well, that's just a way of saying you're connected to him. So if Jesus is enough and you're connected to Jesus, then you have enough in him for every situation. I mean, if you need to move a piano and you don't have the strength to do that, but if you're connected to the Olympic weightlifting team, that's enough. If you need to pay a bill, but you don't have money, but you're connected to Bill Gates, that's enough because he has the money. If you need to repair a car, but you don't have the wisdom or the knowledge to repair a car, but you're connected to a master mechanic, that's enough. You're connected to him. You get his wisdom. You get Bill Gates' money. You get the Olympic weightlifting team's strength and power. Now, I know those are not perfect analogies, but what he's saying here is, listen, you're with Jesus, and Jesus is God, and he's more than enough. There's no problem you need to fear. There's no power that can overcome or hinder God's purposes for your life. Jesus is more than enough for every spiritual, every physical, and every emotional or mental need. Turn to Jesus. Trust in Jesus. Don't let anybody else convince you that somehow Jesus is not enough. I trust that you will do that. Have a blessed day.